morning students, myself Dr. Subramaniam, working as assistant professor in the Department of Zoology, Government First Grade College and PG Center, Chintamani. So students, today we are going to discuss about the morphology of Unio. So externals of Unio. In the syllabus, second semester, BSc Zoology, we have the externals of Unio, morphology of Unio. Now, in the morphology of Unio, Unio belongs to the phylum Mollusca, class Felicipoda or Bivalvia, and type is freshwater mussel or Unio. Freshwater mussels are found in freshwaters, lakes, rivers and streams, inhabiting in surface waters of muddy beds of rivers and lakes. So it is usually found in the surface waters and in the freshwater, lakes, rivers, streams, and particularly in the muddy beds of rivers and lakes. Now, it crawls slowly with the plough-like wedge-shaped muscular foot that lives deeper places by day. Usually, during the daytime, it dwells in the deeper places, and it is a slowly moving organism with the help of the muscular foot. Now, foot consists of microscopic organisms. So, the food consists of microscopic organisms, both animals and plants, which feed upon filter feeding mechanisms involving both ciliary and mucoid movements. So this animal is a filter feeder. Further, shell, soft-bodied animal is completely enclosed with the calcareous shell, which represents its exoskeleton. Now, the organism with the soft animal found inside and outside the soft organism, the shell is there, and shell is made up of calcium carbonate. Shell measures about 10 centimeters in length and 5 centimeters in width. Further characteristics: shell consists of two similar, more or less oval or convex valves which are joined at their dorsal margin or hinge ligament by the strong hinge ligament. Now, in the general characteristics also we discussed about the orientation of the animals in reference to the phylum Mollusca, and this animal Unio freshwater mussel, we observe here. Now this portion is the anterior region, and this portion is the posterior region, and this portion is the dorsal region, and this is the ventral region, and of course in the lateral sides we have the shell. Now here in the dorsal side we find the hinge ligament. Now this hinge ligament is ligament found between the two shells, and these two shells are tightly connected by this ligament. Now we observe here, so there is find these anterior adductor muscles and posterior retractor muscles. So anterior adductor muscles and posterior adductor muscles. So these adductor muscles, with the help of these adductor muscles also, these shells, two shells are tightly held together. And also we find the pallial line or the mantle line, and this is a posterior retractor muscle and anterior retractor muscle, and the foot is there, and this protractor muscle. These types of muscles usually so meant for extension of the foot and retraction of the foot. Next character, dorsally, somewhat anteriorly, each shell is slightly raised part called umbo. This is the oldest part of the shell. Now, this umbo is the oldest part of the shell. That is the first formed shell, maybe in the Glochidium larval stage. So this umbo is firstly formed. Around the umbo, there are concentric lines around the umbo, and these concentric lines of growth represents the intervals between successive growths. So it indicates the life of the or the lifespan of the organism. So this, as the concentric lines increases, the age of the animal also increases. Morphology then further, shell consists of two similar halves, more or less oval, convex valves, dorsal margins or hinge line by strong hinge ligament. Now that's why the animal Pelecypoda are bivalvia, because the two equal shells are there. Next, anterior end of the shell is somewhat rounded. Anterior end is somewhat rounded and posterior end is tapering and projecting. Now this part is the posterior side, this part is the anterior side, and this is the dorsal side, this is the ventral side. Now this is the umbo, and this found the hinge ligament, and there is a concentric lines of growth. Now again further, so this diagram is a very unique diagram. So is the inner part of the shell where you find the umbo, the hinge line, hinge ligament, hinge line inside the hinge ligament, and a scar of retractor muscle, scar of anterior adductor muscle, scar of anterior protractor muscle, and a paleal line where this mantle is found, periostracum, the outermost layer of the shell, scar of the posterior adductor muscle, scar of the posterior retractor muscle. So many muscles are there, particularly for two reasons. One reason, for the attachment of the shell, these muscles are there, anterior adductor muscles and posterior adductor muscles. Second thing, for the extension of the foot and the retraction of the foot, these muscles also found. So this is what we are talking about. The shell are attached to the mantle of the body with the 3 anterior and 2 posterior sets of muscles constituting about protractor, retractor, adductor muscles and posterior retractor and adductor muscles. Now at the dorsal margin surface of the inner surface occurs 2 blade-like process or hinge teeth near the umbo and other along the hinge line, which hold the valves from slipping out the position. So because of this hinge teeth, the two shells are evenly attached together. So finally, the summary of this topic: freshwater muscles are found in the freshwaters, lakes, rivers and streams, inhabiting in the surface layers of the muddy beds and rivers. Now it crawls slowly with the plough-like wedge-shaped muscular foot that lives deeper places by day. Now food consists of microscopic organisms, both animals and plants, so which feeds on by feeding mechanism involving both ciliary as well as mucoid movements. So finally, references of this topic is Invertebrates by R.L. Kotpal, then Jordan Verma, Ekamarnath Iyer, and Dhami and S.N. Prasad. Okay, thank you for hearing.